All right, moving on to something that I thought was pretty interesting. Was brought up to me by somebody in the comments. High school players are now getting NIL deals or are now eligible for NIL deals, but there's three exceptions. There's three rules. Excuse me, three exceptions to that rule, and one of them being you cannot use NIL money to recruit a player. That was in one of the rules, and I thought that was like, so if you go to this school, you can't be recruited by NIL money. You just have to go to that school and just literally just like, hey, I know if I come here, I'm going to get NIL money. Another couple things were no member of the school faculty may be used for the purpose, name, or image likeness compensation. So they cannot use the school. No school apparel or equipment can be worn, like no logos and a mascot. No trademark OSSA logos or acronyms, and no activities to conflict with a member school local school district policy may be endorsed, which is like alcohol and tobacco products. Like they can't endorse stuff that the school won't allow, basically. Which is pretty interesting because now it's like all these parents that live in Tulsa are gonna in our area in Tulsa, Oklahoma, are now going to send their kids to Jinx, Union, BA, because those are the three schools that businesses are going to dump money into those students to make them want to play there. So this is going to monopolize and control the dominance at certain schools in certain states now. These smaller schools will always have like their lower class athletes, but now that those athletes know that they can get paid going to a 6A school or a 6A2 school, oh, absolutely, they're going to leave.
Yeah, I think it's Clown Town. You know, that's not. It's giving young kids that much money just because you're physically gifted early on is bad in my opinion. I don't like it. It makes it. I've always hated the fact that private schools or public schools play each other anyway because private schools recruit. We all know that they recruit. They can recruit players. I mean, even there's local schools that yeah. They can.
They recruit. They recruit.
What do you mean they recruit?
They're not actually allowed to go out and recruit players.
Well, they do.
They do, but they're not allowed to.
Oh yeah, well we know that though. We know they do.
Yeah, that's why I was like, they recruit.
Yeah, and the talent level is very different. It takes a lot for a public school with just homegrown talent to go and win these things. I mean, I don't know what the statistic is on private to public, but I'm going to say it's probably a lot in favor of public school or private schools. So giving young kids that opportunity to make that a lot of money, I think it's bad for the sport.
It's going to have parents literally uplifting their kids and going to Salina del Sol in California or big schools in Texas to go play for teams like that and because there's going to be money involved now. Like whole families are going to be, if the money's life changing. If it's like, hey, we're going to throw $10,000 your way, we're going to endorse you with the local Chick-fil-A down here in town. It's like, you may not go for $10,000, but it's like
that's a lot of money in high school.
Yeah, but if it's a one-time endorsement, it's like, is it really worth it for your parents to transition you all the way across the country or to another school district? Maybe, maybe not. It's the parents should have a lot to say with this because I don't know how you can pay underage athletes money like that.
Well, I mean, kids get paid all the time. I mean, you see child actors.
Yeah, but their money goes into stipend accounts. They only get like 8% up front, and the rest goes into stipend accounts.
I mean, but they're still getting paid for their duties. So same thing here, right? Like the yes, it's a gifted, talented athlete, but they're still doing a quote unquote job in a way. I know it's just a fun sport, but they should get paid personally. I mean. Yeah. You go back like in the 80s and 90s, like, you see high school kids in commercials all the time, locally. And I agree. Like, okay, if you're going to get paid, you can't have money or, you can't have school logo and stuff, from Forrest Gump, what she did. She had that Alabama thing on and got kicked out, but you can't do that. But I think they should. It's okay. I know, Seth, it's against the grain of what's the word I'm trying to say here?
Against the grain.
Against the grain of the I can't think of the word, but sorry, Seth.
Like
what do we talk? How do we talk about golf? The tradition. That's the word. The tradition.
Yeah, but I'm not even mad about if it was put into something where they couldn't use it, maybe it's a good thing, right? You can go and do all this other stuff, but I think money changes people. I think money would change parents. You're gonna start having parents, like Vance said, moving your kids just to go play for somebody. The pressure upon your kid is going to be even more. Hey, son, you're gonna go to Union. You're gonna play 6A football, and you're gonna need you to thrive, so I can pay the bills around here. I thrive, so I can get in the car. I need you to do.
That's on the parent. That's a shitty.
And then you're gonna get parents.
Not
you're
everyone
gonna get parents
can football for Alabama. Not everyone for Alabama.
We're
There's
gonna
going to
get
be
parents pushing their kids.
They're already pushing their kids. I mean, yeah, it may get worse for some parents, but it's already crazy. Like if you've watched, Dan Orlovsky go off on his tangents on Twitter sometimes about youth parents and youth sports and stuff. Like, yeah, when real money is thrown in, especially for underprivileged type of athletes trying to come up from nothing, it's. Yeah, I mean, that's huge. So I agree it's bad parenting, but I mean, the whole NIL, the whole paying them is sketchy for sure. But I think just like child actors, if they're performing something, they should get some kind of compensation. And but the moving to California like that, I mean, you got to be top because like Vance said, you could just go to a Jinx or something and you're still going to get most, a lot of scouts and a lot of visibility there.
Yeah, obviously, now you're going to be collecting a check from Robert's Tire and Speedy's over here, and the local McDonald's that feeds Jinx every other day, and it's like all these other small businesses that are going to be willing to dump money to keep these athletes around and bring more into their program to keep them relevant.
But there might be a very, very small handful that actually move states and stuff. I don't think it'll be as crazy as we're starting to think of, but because why? I mean, why would you? Like you said, if it's not that much money, why would you move? But if you're one of those athletes, there's some kid, the ambidextrous quarterback. He's in high school and he already has a shit ton of deals waiting for him. Probably close to millions. I think he's in Florida or something. But I mean, it is what it is. Pay him. Fuck it.
Yeah. What can you do? It's just the way the world is transitioning to.
Yeah.
So
it's only going to get bigger.
I've always thought instead of paying athletes, which I'm totally fine with at the collegiate level, but since it wasn't an option until this past year, quotations, an option, that there should be insurance policies taken out against athletes in college. That way, if an injury happens and they're pro level bound, they'll be compensated if they get a massive injury playing.
Yeah.
But that was before NIL. Now they can do whatever they want.